Hey guys, today we're going to be working with another fleece. This one is just stunningly gorgeous. Like that is black fleece with some sun bleach tips. Now, the thing with this fleece, I purchased it knowing this, and I purchased it on purpose. Here's a nice lock. I mean, there is veggie matter in it, but that's to be expected. There's sheep. But the problem with this fleece is some of it has a break. So you can see how that's splitting. Okay. Now, I bought this on purpose. Number one, because the black is so gorgeous, I can't stand to see it wasted. And number two, because we're going to show that you can still use this fleece. And it's really not going to take any more effort than a regular fleece would. So I'm just right now pulling it so you can see the break. Okay? So, holy, it was just a South Park guidance counselor there. Okay. So, I'm going to change the angle of the camera and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this fleece to rescue as much of it as we can. Hang tight for a second. So I'm just sitting comfortably and I have my hand cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this fleece. Now, not all of it has a break, but most of it does. And I'm just going to plop it onto my hand cards. I'm going to comb this open, let some of that debris fall out. Now again, this is another kind of variation on my no fleece left behind method that works for so many things. So what I'm going to do now is I've opened up the fiber. I'm just going to load it up to the front of the card. Now right away what's going to happen is that pulling is going to break some of that fleece. Basically what we want to do is we want to purposefully break it so that way we're not getting neps and noils. So I've loaded it up along the edge of the front edge of the card and I'm going to pull, and you can see that it actually, rather than pulling out of the card, it actually broke. So what we have here is solid fiber, or at least 90% solid fiber. So I'm just going to comb that out to get that debris out. So now I have this beautiful black fiber, and this length is solid because we already broke it where it wanted to break. So I'm going to put that in a pile and I'm going to keep working my way through. So now I have this. I will recard it to the edge. So I've carded it just to the front edge of the card. And I'm just going to, like, don't lift up, just pull down and it will break. Anywhere there's a break, it will break. So then you have this fiber here, but this length is solid. So we're just going to comb it out to get the debris out and any really short fibers. So this will kind of align it, get out any little short bits, leave you with a gorgeous bit of fluffy fiber. Like this fleece, it's so pretty, and if it didn't have the break, this would be like stellar fleece. This is Clun Forest, if I didn't mention that, and it is natural color. So we're gonna card that to the edge again, and we're gonna see. Okay, now you can see I'm trying to pull and it's really holding tight. So we pretty much got all of that break out. And we probably salvaged as much as we're going to salvage off of this little bit. So we'll add this to our good pile. Whoops, static. It does want to let go of my hand. There we go. We're just going to clean this stuff off the cards. And we're going to set it aside for further processing or other uses. I'm going to continue to work my way through this handful of fleece, and then we're going to spin it up. So I'll go through that. I'm going to move you, and we're going to do this one more time. So we're going to take a lock. So we'll just grab a lock of fiber. You can fluff it up a bit if you want. Get it onto the cards. Comb it, just to get it all opened up. We're not going for fancy or all aligned or anything. We're just opening that fiber up. All right, now that we've got it opened up, we're going to take our card and we're going to load to this front edge. So basically just use the tip of your card and load up that front edge. Now, from the front of the card, you don't want to pull up on the fleece or it's going to release from the teeth. You want to break it off. So, there we go. You can see most of the fleece is still there. There's the break. We'll grab the next chunk. Do the same thing. Next chunk. Do the same thing. And just work your way across. So now you have actually broken the fiber. So what you should have left should be a solid length of fiber. So we're just going to comb that out to get any of the little bits out. Baba's over here nuzzling the tripod, so if the camera's going wonky, you can blame him. Comb that out. And now we have this. And it should be all solid. You can also see how the Clun Forest has such a fine crimp that it really stretches out, because that's like half a staple length. And look how long that is. So we'll put that in our good pile. We'll recard this to the front of the card. And now we're going to do the same thing again. Come along that front of your card, grab hold and pull. Grab hold and pull. If there is any weakness in the fiber, it's going to break when you do this. So there we go. We have a solid length of fiber, and we just want to clean that up. So we'll just comb it on the other card, flip it around, do the same thing. And now we have this gorgeous, gorgeous fiber that's solid. Now, when you blend the sun bleached tips with that very black, you get this deep chocolate brown. It is absolutely gorgeous. I can't imagine just having to sacrifice this fleece just because of a break. Now this one, the break happens right about in the middle. But this would be especially good if it's, you know, 1/4 inch from the bottom, the cut end of the lock, or 1/4 inch from the top end of the lock, where you're not going to lose as much. But this one is just about halfway through the fleece, and it can still salvage a ton of fleece from this. There's no reason that has to say, you know, just because there's a break, that does not make it unusable fiber, especially if it's really pretty like this and you want to salvage it. It can be done. All right, there we go. So once we've gone through the first pass, we're going to go back and I'm just going to clean up what's left over as much as I can. So I'm still loading it up to the front edge, but this time I'm going to lift it off. And you can see, maybe you can't. Does it show up against there? This is all neppy and oily from that break and the little fibers all bunching up. So what I want to do is kind of clean this up, get the debris and some of those neps and oils out of there. I didn't do a great job of keeping that intact. There we go. Give it a twist. And what I'm going to do with this, after a quick clean, is I'm just going to keep working it. You can see the veggie matter is stuck in there. So I just want to open it up, load it up on that front edge. Lift that off. There's some more fiber saved. That's going into a separate pile though. All right, this will be my last pass, so I'm going to make sure I'm really cleaning up my card. Bobo found some treats over here to eat. I'm going to pull. This time I'm pulling straight out. And give it one more pass through the hand card. All right. And this is going to go for stuffing or landfill or whatever. Well, not landfill, garden. You can use this for whatever you want. I might even go through that a couple more times, but there is a lot of veggie matter in there, so you don't want to yarn with this. So I'm going to set that to the side, and then I will take the second pass and I will card that into roll eggs. Now right now I don't really have enough to do that with, and my hand cards are filthy, but we will do that later. So for now, I'm going to continue to work the break on this, put the seconds aside, clean them a second time, and then card them into roll eggs. And we will come back when it's time to spin. All right, so I finished my first pass. These are my seconds. Now what I want to try and do is comb some of this out. So it's not going to be a full worsted top because of course it's all disorganized, but I'm just going to lash it onto the combs and let's see how this goes. So we will put this into the debris pile. You can see how there's veggie matter in that. So we'll just set that aside. And we'll comb again. It's actually combing pretty decent. We'll put that into the stuffing pile. Compost or stuffing. because it's hard to find dark stuffing, I'm going to hold on to this stuff for sure. All right, now, I don't know if you can see this, but there are a lot of little neps and noils in it, which is fine. I don't mind that in a fiber. You're not going to get to spin smooth with this. Oops. Just popped it right off the combs. Just going to pop that back on just so I can stretch it out a little bit. Okay. So we'll put that over there. And we'll add that back into our pile. So it's actually working rather decent. So let's grab some locks that we haven't done anything with and try combing them and see what happens. 1 second. Now, we all know I won't shy away from a problem fleece, but I'm not saying anyone has to do this or even should do this. This is simply if you enjoy the challenge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these locks. Such a gorgeous fleece. It's really too bad about the break. Can you see right here? There's a thinning of the fleece. Like, I can actually see that right there. And I bet you that's where the break is. Yep, right there. So there's really not that much of the lock below that break. So, I mean, I could sit here and pull off the break, but I just want to comb it and see what happens. So I'm just going to take some locks, lash them onto the combs, and we will see what happens. I don't know that combing is going to provide enough resistance to break it. That's why I didn't start with the combs. But if it will, then that would definitely lead to a cleaner fleece in less time. So let's give this a shot. All right, there we go. We lashed some on. Now let's see if there's enough resistance. No, I don't think so. Just basically what happens is it just combs out those fibers rather than resisting to break. But we're going to continue combing anyways and see what happens as we go. Because even with that break, if we can comb it into a roving, once it's spun up, that break is not going to matter once it's plied, because the chances of the breaks lining up and leading to a weak spot are actually, I would think, fairly small. But let's find out. All right, take that off. We're starting to get some static built up now. It's all right, because I'm about to pull it off anyways. This is the last pass. All right, let's find out what happens when we pull it off. I'm not seeing a bunch of nips or noils. It actually combed up really nice. Well, this actually combed up pretty darn nice. So I'm going to comb a little bit more, and then we can do some spinning experiments and see how that goes. Now this has got some debris and some nips and noils, so that's going into the stuffing or compost pile. Grab another chunk here. Yep. Compost pile. Okay, take that off. Getting pretty staticky, so we're going to give it a little spritz. And I'm just going to pick out this big chunk of veggie matter right here. Now, as far as this fleece goes, I think I paid $10 for the whole 2 pounds. So absolutely worth the money. Even if I only get a half a pound out of it, it's still worth it to me because of the color of this fleece. To get a fleece this dark is just freaking amazing. And it really is quite lovely. I'm becoming a big fan of Glen Forest. Okay, let's face it, I'm a big fan of sheep. I love them all and all their variations and the different ways they work out. All right, there we go. So there's a little bit more. Roving. All right, so the next step is going to be, we're going to spin it up and see how that goes. And Bobo is here nuzzling the tripod again. He does love to nuzzle. So I'm going to get the wheel set up and we will do some spinning. All right, let's spin up some of this Glen Forest that has a break, because I'm pretty sure it's still going to make a lovely yarn. So we're going to start with the bits that we pulled from the hand cards. I'm just going to spin it right from these locks. Whoa, out of control instantly. Okay, there we go. This is such a gorgeous dark fleece. Natural color. There is no dye involved here. I really enjoy colored fleeces, and I'm not entirely sure why, because I mean, I can make any color I want from a white fleece, but I love natural colors. They just appeal to me. All right, as expected, it's a fairly strong single that drifted apart. It did not break. But we did use the hand cards to break the fleece ahead of time so that the break wouldn't become an issue later on, because it's already been taken care of. So spin a little more on there. It's very smooth. There's no neps or noils. Those little bumps are just me spinning like a dork because I'm not paying enough attention. But that's not a fault at the fleece. That's operator error. All right. So that's spinning from broken locks, and we end up with a nice strong single. So let's find out what happens when we take combed locks where the break has not been broken. I gotta find a better way to say that. And we're gonna spin this and see how it turns out. Now remember, the break is still in this fiber. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to increase my twist and up my uptake a little bit. Oh, this spins lovely from a combed top. It's just wonderful. All right, so we've spun a bit. Let's find out, like, the tensile strength is there. Okay, now I'm always saying, you know, the rules are the rules, like, why don't you spin and find out? Well, I just had a thought, and this is going to be a confession for me. I was always told that spinning a fleece with a break would lead, because of that weakness, to to a weak fiber, to a weak yarn. And I never actually tested it until right now. Can you believe it? Dr. Chaos, the mad experimenter, has never really tested the theory. I have always just, working with the fleece with a break, I've always just forced it to break, so I was dealing with whole fiber. Again, that drifted apart. Did you see how strong that was? Okay, that time it snapped. But still, that's really strong. I'm snapping that a lot of times before it breaks. And once you apply it, it's going to increase that to the nth degree. I seem to be having an epiphany moment. Why would I waste all my time going through the process of breaking the fleece before spinning it, when apparently I can just comb it and spin it as it is and it's still reasonably strong? Well, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to comb up the rest of this fleece. Now, with this fleece, the break is not, the weakness is not really severe. I think it's going to depend on how weak is weak. Because this one, like, there is a weakness, but it's not much to start, right there. And it's not that weak. Like, it's still fairly strong. So I think a lot of it is going to depend on how weak is weak. But I am going to comb up some more of this and we'll spin it. But I'm just going to comb it straight from this, spin that up, and we're going to see how it is in applied yarn for strength. Because I feel like it's really not making that much of a difference, the fact that it has a weakness in the fleece. But let's find out. We'll finish spinning it and then we'll chain ply it. Well, we'll comb it and then we'll chain ply it and we'll do a strength test then. So hang tight while I do this and let's see what happens. I'm curious, you're curious, let's find out together. All right, hang tight while I get this all processed up. Well, here it is. One gorgeous Clun Forest fleece in a chocolate brown, almost black, with a weak spot or break in the fleece, combed, spun as a single, then chain plied. It is positively gorgeous. I mean, it is just, it's stunning, the color of this. And it's spun up beautifully. Trying to get it to focus on the wool and not my face. There we go. So it's spun up so nice. Now here is the big test. I'm just going to grab a strand. Now remember, this is spun from a weak fleece. It does not make a weak yarn. As far as neps and noils go, there really aren't any. in this. The little blurbles are spots where I didn't draft properly. They're not actual neps. So I learned something today. If the fleece with the weak spot or the break is strong enough to comb and not break, just comb it up and spin it. It works out beautifully. It makes this beautiful, strong yarn. You can see I still have a little bit of veggie matter in that. But I'm stunned. My theory of you have to break the break and then do the yarn to keep it from being all nippy and oily and weak was wrong, because I had never tested what I thought I knew. I'm so excited. So I can comb up this fleece and make this beautiful, strong yarn. Like, you saw me snap test that, okay? It's not breaking. I love it when I discover new things. I'm sure there's people out there going, duh, but for me, this is like an epiphany moment. I'm just so surprised and excited by this. So, if you found this video at all interesting, useful, or if you just plain enjoyed it, do the stuff down below, because I do stuff like this all the time. Thanks for joining me, guys. Dr. Chaos out.